But we start at Portman Road, where Ipswich, already out of Europe but favourites for the First Division Championship, take on Wolverhampton Wanderers, whose start to the season has so far been far from glorious. Commentator John Barnwell.
The life and times of Andy Gray are turbulent indeed. He's lost his tag as Britain's most expensive footballer. He's regained his place in the Scotland World Cup squad. He was sent off against his old club Aston Villa on Wednesday, and he's still the subject of transfer talk which has kept Wolves in the headlines all this week. Today, John Barnwell makes 2 changes. At number 8, Wayne Clark comes in for Alan Birch, who has an ankle injury, and at number 10, Norman Bell replaces John Richards, who's been out of form. So, having dropped Peter Daniel and George Berry earlier this week, the Wolves manager is shuffling the pack at a time when his own future has been open to speculation. Ipswich make a change after winning at Leeds in the League Cup. Mick Mills switches to right back to replace Kevin Steggles, and that brings in an extra attacker in Kevin O'Callaghan, the Republic of Ireland international, who is one of 4 Ipswich players scheduled for World Cup duty next week. The others are all in midfield: Tyson and Muren of Holland, Walk of Scotland. Referee Tony Ward comes from New Southgate in North London. So the First Division leaders kick off, playing from left to right, having beaten Wolves here for the last 3 seasons and having done the double over them last season. Walk. Butcher. Good ball. O'Callaghan playing at outside left in the early stages. Although he tends to switch from side to side when he's in the Ipswich team. Osman. Mariner. Mills. Foul by Gallagher on Gates. And the referee, wanting to make the point early, is going to book the Wolves captain Joe Gallagher, who's wearing that protective plaster on his left arm because he broke a wrist recently. But it was Eric Gates who was more in danger of being cut about there. Free kick to Ipswich. Here comes Terry Butcher. And they're in a mess, and Mariner! Oh, it was blocked by Gallagher. Here's Muren. Back in again for Johnny Walk. Mariner attempted the overhead kick there in a crowded goal mouth, and the effort blocked by Gallagher. On by Bell. Here's Walk. Tyson. This is where Wolves have got to try and contain Ipswich. Tyson and Muren, who like to decorate the game in midfield and direct operations from there. Here's Mick Mills. Tyson. Muren. Walk leaving it for O'Callaghan. Beating Hibbett. Beating Palmer. Oh, I say, what a finish! And Kevin O'Callaghan scores his first ever goal for Ipswich Town in the Football League. Or indeed in any first-team competitive match. And how about that for a way to open your account for a club? The long cross, John Walk sensibly left it for O'Callaghan behind him. He jigged round Kenny Hibbett. He beat Jeff Palmer, who I think tried to bring him down. And from that angle, he lashed the ball past Bradshaw into the net. A superb individual goal for Ipswich after 9 minutes. O'Callaghan's been with the club since January 1980 when he signed from Millwall. And he's actually Ipswich's most expensive cash purchase. Would you believe, £250,000. Here's Mills. Villazan tangling with Gates. This is Mariner. Now it's Gates. Oh, and there goes Walk. Well cut out by Hibbett, but the drive coming in. Arnold Muren there had a very good chance to make it 2-0. Kenny Hibbett made a good saving challenge, but when Muren saw the goal there with Bradshaw out of position, he went for the left foot shot and missed. This is Wayne Clark to Mick Matthews. Wolves with 5 players forward in this attack. Matthews to Atkinson. Bell on the far side of the penalty area. That's where it's gone. And Steve McCall just getting a foot in. Wolves have got 3 tall players waiting to come in from the back of the penalty area. Gallagher, Gray and Bell. And that was Osman. That was Tyson. Not really away even now. Bell, Matthews and Walk, McCall. As far as Parkin though. Clark. Hibbett. Matthews. Hibbett again. Parkin. Away by Osman from Gray. And return by Wayne Clark. And a very good tip over by Paul Cooper. Lovely spin there by Wayne Clark to turn and hit that in one movement, so tight to the near post, and Cooper got up to flick it over. Hooked back by Atkinson. The best spell Wolves have had so far ends with a free kick to Ipswich. Wayne Clark, one of Alan Clark's younger brothers, has always had good skill in tight situations, and there's always been some dispute about whether he should play in midfield or further forward. Walk. O'Callaghan. And there's Gates. And now it's McCall. This is Mills. Good measured football from Ipswich. This is Arnold Muren. And O'Callaghan again. Good cross, Mariner. Didn't get the full meat of the forehead behind that ball, Mariner. It flicked off him rather, away from the goal. Oh, Gray got the other side of Osman there. What a great volleyed ball that was by John Walk out to Mick Mills. It set Ipswich up here with Mariner going down the right. Tyson. Gates. Here's Tyson. And Walks in there again. Mariner, not quite. But Ipswich in this mood takes some stopping. It's McCall to Muren. McCall. Foul by Jeff Palmer. And Butcher and Osman both making their way forward to lend support at the free kick. Played short though to O'Callaghan to shoot. Oh, he nearly got another. Well, there are 1 or 2 people at Portman Road who felt Kevin O'Callaghan was taking a while to settle down here and make a real impression. Perhaps not helped by the fact that he tends to come in and out of the side depending on who else is fit. But I've never seen him start a First Division match quite as confidently as he has today. That's Eric Gates. Walk. This is McCall. Gallagher. Oh, well, this is Wayne Clark. Hibbett. Parkin. And Tyson breaks up the attack, and it's 2 against 2 up there. If Ipswich can move quickly, this is Mariner, and Arnold Muren's made a tremendous run through the inside left channel and has got to beat Villazan, who's beaten himself. And it's Muren wondering whether to pull it back, and in the end, shot into the side netting. When he had 2 players available square, Johnny Walk and Gates were waiting. But it's always difficult to know quite what the angle looks like to the player on the ball at pitch level, and Arnold Muren, with all his experience, clearly thought he was right to go for the shot, and it was the wrong side of the post. Here's Butcher to Mariner. Now Tyson. Now it's Mills, and now it's Mariner again, and Wolves are getting stretched here as Villazan comes across. Mills in low for Gates where he likes it. Good turn, a spinning shot off the defender. I think it must have hit Kenny Hibbett on the turn. But Eric Gates likes nothing better than the ball played in low and tight inside the area so that he can turn his man. He turned onto the shot, and Hibbett's intervening leg took the ball out for a corner to Ipswich, which Gates himself will take as rain comes down. And Andy Gray heads it clear, as far as Tyson anyway. Back again to Gates. Marin let it run. And O'Callaghan has now switched from left to right. Gates putting himself about, Mariner coming in. My word, Gates, Mariner has been penalised in the end for just leaving his mark on Villazan, but Gates actually grappled there with a man almost a foot taller, Gallagher, and just about unsettled him too. Here's Villazan for Wolves. Matthews. Hibbett, little touch. And Matthews coming forward with 3 ahead of him, but blocked by Tyson, and this is Walk. Short for O'Callaghan then, but Muren has won the ball back for Ipswich. Mariner's begun his run down the left. He's got Gallagher to beat, who may be hampered by a recent injury. This is Mariner. Muren's well forward again. Tyson is to his left. So is O'Callaghan. One back by Muren. In early to Gates. And Walk is coming in here. And Derek Parkin did just about enough to put John Walk off. But that was typical Ipswich, the way that ball was played in early to Eric Gates, giving him the time to size up his options, shake off the marker, get the cross in, and as Walk came hurtling in, Parkin did also, and forced Walk to put it off target. Here's Gray. Hibbett. And Gray pulling away dangerously at the far post, knocking it back in. Butcher's header. Clark setting it up again, away by Walk, as far as Gates. Again, this method of coming out of defence into attack, which Ipswich employ, seemed to be very measured and very effective. Players finding good positions, notably Tyson here. Mariner. Mills was perhaps waiting for someone to come square. Here's Tyson. Mariner. Made room for the shot, well picked up by Bradshaw. Well, they talk about a snapshot, that's exactly what they mean. Mariner turning and firing in one movement, and the goalkeeper very alert down to his right. Here comes Villazan. Gray. Clark. He's got Palmer just behind him. He's had to go even further back to Gallagher, and there's the up and under for Andy Gray, taking it away from Osman at first, and that was almost an accidental goal by Kenny Hibbett. What happened there was that John Walk drove his clearance right against Hibbett, and the ball span. It could have been awkward for Cooper had it been a foot lower. Looking for Gray again. That was Clark. That's a good effort. That's a dipping volley from Wayne Clark. Beautifully struck. And I must say, we've seen two players on the field this afternoon who've yet to establish themselves as automatic first division choices. But my word, in patches, what skill they've shown. Wayne Clark of Wolves twice has threatened the Ipswich goal with individual efforts. And for Ipswich, there's been the performance of Kevin O'Callaghan. And Ipswich have got reason to be thankful to their goalkeeper, Paul Cooper, who saved them, and to Arnold Muren, who kept their attack moving so well. So worrying times these for John Barnwell on the left and his recently appointed first-team coach, Ian Ross, who succeeded Richie Barker in that job at the beginning of the season. Rain still coming down as Wolves start the second half. This is Muren for Ipswich, to O'Callaghan. Mariner challenging Gallagher. Waiting for the bounce, but only finding Palmer there. Mariner got his first goal of the season at Southampton last week, but still awaits his first home goal. Here's Butcher. Parkin. Oh, and Bell gets in there, and Cooper put into a tangle initially by Butcher. And Norman Bell might have profited from that. The arguments are still going on back in the defence. The rain comes down even more heavily. Here's Clark for Wolves. Palmer. Hibbett. And again. And up goes Gray, a good save by Cooper. Ipswich a little lacking in concentration again, perhaps, although Gray is so hard to contain in the penalty area, you've got to say that, first and foremost. Got his header in, and Cooper, a smart save. Well, John Barnwell on the Wolves bench must be thinking his side could easily have been levelled by now. And Ipswich have got reason to be grateful to Paul Cooper for two very good saves, one from Clark in the first half and one from Gray in the second. Muren. Mariner. Mills now, who'll be wanting to see Ipswich move up a gear after a fairly indifferent period in the second half. But he won't get the attack moving like that. Here's Palmer. Muren defending, and McCall, and O'Callaghan. And Gates waiting to break, and he can now. Actually, to be fair to the goalkeeper, I think he had that covered. Eric Gates picking the ball up from Steve McCall, attacking the defender, making room for his shot, but I honestly think Bradshaw had his post covered as the ball went just wide. Walk. Butcher. O'Callaghan. Muren's found Mills. And here's Tyson, who hasn't been in the match a lot since half-time. Mills has gone inside now. That's Mills' shot. Oh! Somebody ran directly in the goalkeeper's line of vision there. John Walk, I fancy, as the ball sped through from Mick Mills. Well, the crowd have just heard that Switzerland have beaten Romania and opened up the World Cup path again for England. I wonder if the Ipswich manager has had time to take that in. Wayne Clark looking for Andy Gray, coming in again behind Osman. And the throw out from Cooper was superb. It found Muren in yards of space. And with 20 minutes to go, he's found O'Callaghan. First time ball in, away by Palmer for a corner. Taken quickly. Gates this is. O'Callaghan. It's going to come to Tyson. Tyson working hard to regain possession, but then giving it away. And here's Hibbett as Ipswich retreat, and he's got two players in support, Bell to the right and Clark to the left. Bell's gone inside now, Hibbett's shot. Wouldn't have mattered because Bell had straight into an offside position. O'Callaghan, whose goal still separates the two teams. Muren. Oh, Ipswich are getting lackadaisical now. Here's Gray. That's a good effort from Andy Gray. But again, I wonder if the goalkeeper will look back and say he had the post covered. Certainly Paul Cooper has a smile on his face. The ball wasn't very far wide from Gray's left foot shot, but Cooper was over there by the post. So still 1-0 to Ipswich. Muren to O'Callaghan. And bear in mind that if Wolves were to score and force a draw, it would mean the loss not just of 1 point for Ipswich, but 2 under the new system, which is why their lack of grip in the second half at certain times won't have pleased the manager. Here's Atkinson. Clark. He's got by McCall, even though he went down, and there's Matthews! Well, Wolves can't say they've not had the openings. There have been at least 3 occasions, maybe more, when they could have scored, and at that moment, Mick Matthews plays his last part in the game, because that was his final kick. He's off, and he's substituted by Colin Brazier, who comes on for his first league appearance of the season.
Come here, Clarky! Come here, Wayne! Come here, Wayne!
Tyson. Here's Steve McCall. Oh, Eric Parkin saw that coming a mile off. He's found Kenny Hibbett. Offside against Bell. By Mariner, away by Villazan, as far as Tyson. Now Walk. Mills. Gates. Mariner. Walk just got a touch on that. Here's O'Callaghan. Square to Muren. O'Callaghan again. Muren in for Walk, and Walk again. And Tyson off the defender Gallagher. Muren, Mills. Away by Palmer this time. O'Callaghan to Muren. And Mariner comes in at the back post. John Walk. Corner off Palmer. Mariner got it back from a very difficult position, and Walk couldn't finish it off. Corner to Ipswich. And for the third consecutive home match, Ipswich take 3 points by virtue of an odd goal victory. The goal today scored by O'Callaghan, but a fitful Ipswich performance if one is thinking in championship terms. Not at their best by any means in the second half, when Wolves created enough openings to have actually stolen something or achieved something out of the match, as they go off with the final score here at Portman Road. Ipswich Town 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0.
Well, those 3 points keep Ipswich on top of the table and increase the misery of Wolves. They showed plenty of spirit in the second half particularly, but manager John Barnwell seems to be having some difficulty in establishing and carrying out a policy which is acceptable to everyone at the club. He's talking to John Robson.
You brought us up to date in Football Focus at lunchtime with the Andy Gray saga. Where do things stand now? He's clearly still giving his all for you, but
Yes.
is it likely that he's going to go to Leeds?
As far as I'm concerned, no. And I will reiterate again, if a club, whether it's Leeds or whoever, wish to make a bid for any of my players, whether it's Andy Gray or whoever, that's quite within their right. And football economics being the way they are, I will consider it. And if after considering it I think it's right for the club, then I'll take it to the next step. But until I get something in front of me, then I can't consider it. So the Leeds thing, as far as I'm concerned, is not on.
But are you still seeing things a different way to your chairman?
Well, until I speak to the chairman again, I don't know. I don't really know. I see things that I'm trying to build a side, not tear it apart. And the last thing you ever do is get rid of your best players. If that's to be the case, then I'll have to consider that with the chairman and with the board of directors. And really, there's not much more I can say at this period of time. I think it's very unsettling for the players. And you've seen them perform today. There's only one thing they're concerned about, as Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club. They would die for it, the majority, and quite rightly so. And I think we have to be seen as a group of people to all pull in the same direction. I think that's the only important thing at this moment in time.
Well, John Barnwell illustrating the difficulty both directors and managers are having in these most difficult times to establish the best financial policy for their clubs. And there certainly seems enough enthusiasm in the club from all quarters to make things happen. Let's hope they harness it quickly.